pull out your bingo cards and tell me if the return of Reforging Asterix was on your bingo card for this expansion.
Wasn't on mine. I saw these when the public alpha went up, because the press alpha didn't have like the Stormwind vendors or the org vendors, all of like the profession stuff, but this one did.
Now, do you know what?
I saw this and I nearly leapt out of my chair. I was like, holy
the
fuck.
first part of this though is design, because way back, right, and it was always funny. Blizzard basically, they tried to remove things that made you feel like you needed to tweak around with your gear before you put it on your character. And they started doing that really hard in Warlords of Draenor, which removed Reforging. And then they would keep on talking about that philosophy while they did things like Azerite armor and stuff that would, funnily enough, have us be completely incapable of knowing whether gear was good or not until we simmed it. What it does seem, though, is that there may be a bit more okay to just have layers of things and systems that give people a little bit of control. Because whenever I look at this and, my initial thought is, oh, but what about how they don't want me to be fiddling around with my gear? But then I thought, I don't really mind fiddling around with my gear in an RPG. Yeah. And then I thought, if I don't mistakes. But then, then it's like, if I don't get a perfectly itemized bit of gear, I can make it better. And then you don't feel as bad.
Yeah. So the asterisk here is the important part, because this is not Reforging. We'll go back to the flasks. These are just ring enchants. They take away 1020 off a stat and give you 1360 of another, which is a 240 bonus, which is a lot more than the other enchants give. And I don't think this is finished.
Well, jewelry's big secondary stats.
Okay, we don't have them. So. But the rings... The ring enchants, the normal ones, have 35.
Yeah.
I assume that'll go up because 35 is nothing, especially compared to what we have on Dragon Prime. So that's just not done. I'm assuming it's going to be not as much as 240 because you want to have a benefit for doing this. But this basically means if you get a ring that has a dog shit stat that you don't want, or if your stat weights, or if you literally have whatever your gear drop, you have far too much, say, mastery, then you can take a big bonus to versatility. This isn't as free as you can pick whatever. It's literally these four. Maybe more will come, but I feel like this is kind of the vision for, say, the limitations seem intentional, okay? Because, okay, well, maybe not, because getting rid of 1000 versatility and getting 1360 haste, that seems like, unless you're giga high on haste already, that seems like a good idea for most. Same with but then trading haste for crit or crit for mastery seems a bit of less of an idea. But then you can't use an actual ring enchant. See, that's why they give a bonus, because the actual ring this is going to be a net gain over an actual ring enchant, provided you don't destroy your stat weights with it. Yeah.
I like this, actually. I think it's probably good that they haven't went full Reforging again, but the idea of giving players a little bit of control, I think, is fine.
Well, that's the thing, because you're enchanting rings anyway. If you get a ring, you're going to enchant it. Or if your stat weight changes heavily, you can go and enchant it. That's different from, I got a drop in raid, let me hearth to the shrine to Reforge, which is what happened in Mists. Everyone's like, right, I got a bit of gear, let me go reforge it so I can get my hit cap, which is a thing people were doing. You're like, bro.
Do you remember the old days?
Yeah.
Having your hit cap and your expertise cap and your defense cap. You go in there, you have one less defense. Well, rip, that boss is just going to kill you.
Yeah, stuff like that was RPG, but very restrictive in a way, where it's like, this is your bare minimum or you're fucked. Whereas this is a lot more, you actually just, you actually just have bonuses to gain from this. Unless you really scupper it, you could completely destroy it. So you could. Every other enchant is kind of similar in vein to what we have in Dragonflight. That's one of the things. There's a huge amount of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, get on with a lot of crafting. What is broke is being fixed as well. But stuff like this, just Authority of Air, is just you get some absorbs when you take damage sometimes. You heal your allies sometimes, which is based on healing, so that's just the healer, just proc extra heal. You've got your usual stuff. You've got your, here's your primary stat, the equivalent of the, oh my god, what was it called? I typed it into fucking auction house enough. The order one from thing. There's this one's actually cool as hell. Authority of the Depths Damaging foes may evoke the authority, applying suffocating darkness to them and periodically inflict damage. It deepens every invocation, eventually, reflecting all remaining damage. So there's a little bit more flavor of like very small things there. I can't imagine you're doing radiant damage or shadow damage is going to meaningfully matter. Sovereign Devotion, that's it. That's exactly it. There's some other stuff, which is like, here's your AoE version where lightning hits in an AoE, so you bring that for your, your fortified runs. And then there's versatility for 12 seconds, which is just the kind of tank healing thing, probably cheaper anyway. Boots, kind of similar, except we've got a weird choice this time, which is mount speed by 10%. Sure, except...
Oh, my boots?
Yeah, except it doesn't really matter too much most of the time. Because
it's like a foot-to-foot speed transfer. How does that work?
They're sharper, so you stick into the mud.
That's probably one of the few ways that it would work.
Yeah. Sharper. You've enchanted your spurs to hurt more.
Get Peter on this right now.
Yeah. Scout's March, which is just extra speed, or stamina, which is strange. I get the idea of like Scout's March, Defender's March, Cavalry's March. That's a cool theming.
Yep.
But it's like, do you want speed or stamina? It's like, obviously I want stamina.
Speed. On everything.
See, this.
Just don't get hit. This is why I die on Immoral.
Yeah, because stamina is the objectively better choice. Because if you need 250 speed to not get hit, you have problems, man. You have problems.
No. I have casts that need to finish.
Yeah.
That's what I have.
Yeah, well, I'm a feral druid. I'm going to have all the time in the world to run around and decide my next ability. I'm going to be playing fucking World of Warcraft chess. But
you're going to be disgustingly happy.
I have 7 GCDs to wait before I get enough energy to press the button. Let me think about this move.
So, chests.
I'll be able to play Mahjong while I play WoW.
Chests are main stat. Wow, incredible.
Actually, with a little bit of flavor, the agility and speed this time.
Oh.
Or just more agility. Why?
Anyway. Increase your mana pool by 5%.
That's the standard. We don't have awakening stats this time around.
Okay.
At least not yet. All of this is what's an alpha. It's not complete.
We've got Bracer and Chance. They have returned. Amazing confirmation, Matt. The game is no longer doomed. Potions. Have they actually given us interesting potions?
Yes.
And that is a good thing to be able to say, because you know the way you keep on looking at some potions they cook up, even in past expansions, that look cool, but you'd never use because they invoke your potion your potion cooldown, or like things in engineering that just look awesome, but again, you'll never use. Or all those times, when they make bombs. And obviously, Matt, we have a natural, our racial bonus is in fact bomb making and using. But World of Warcraft never really lets us use bombs, does it? I mean, there are ones that engineers make, but they do like 7 damage. And you're like, this is cool and flavorful. Why did you put it in the game though? Are these potions good? Now that I don't know, now that I have completely unnecessarily whipped the story up.
You've gone too far.
I'm so sorry.
So here's Tempered Potion. Gain the effects of all inactive tempered flasks, increasing their associated stats by 2d50 for 30 seconds. You get a lot of secondary stat, except for your flask. Which is crazy. But then you look at the Flask of Alchemical Chaos, and you go, because the Tempered Aggression is the one here, you've got all of your different stats on your flask. So you go, okay, well, you take, say you're drinking the Tempered Aggression, and then you take the Tempered Potion. That'll give you your first Master Haste.
Yeah.
And then you go, I've got nice. That's not going to double down and crit. It's going to be nice for your stat weights. You're not going to run into diminishing returns very much. But what if you drink the Alchemical Chaos, which gives you 3,200 at the cost of 420 of 2 other stats?
And they're randomized every 30 seconds?
Yeah. So now forget for 1 second.
You're going to need another bag full of dice.
Forget for 1 second that you press potions at the ideal time for cooldown management, stuff like that. And if you press it for, for hero and all, forget all that for a second. Imagine if you could press the potion, but you watched your Alchemical Chaos buff. Until you got the bad stat.
I mean, Matt, at this rate, I think you might be wanting a weak aura.
I mean, yeah. So you get, you want crit your best stat. You wait until crit pops or doesn't pop or whatever else. And then you press your Tempered Potion, whichever works the best, to get the most out of it. Which is really kind of interesting, kind of min-maxing you might theoretically possibly do. Or you could just not, because you could instead take the potion that is a 2 to 5% damage buff based on item quality. Could do that.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because that's not...
Dude, my brain has tuned out so hard right now.
Yeah, I know. So what you're going to want to do, Michael, is you're going to want to take the...
Can you give me an intellect potion?
Yeah, you're going to take the potion of the reborn cheetah and run off the edge so we can play the game.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, there's the unwavering focus, which is instead of like a damage potion being here's stats or whatever else, there's like, here's fucking damage. Just damage. 5%.
Skip the middleman.
Just 5% damage. There you go.
Done.
How much damage do you want? 5%. Get a gold potion. Shove it up.
No, 2 to 5%.
Yeah, based on item quality.
Okay, so 5.
So 5 if you get the 3 gold, which is way better. Like now, potions actually quality.
Hey, man, this reborn cheetah 60%. 20. You're going to be going far. That's fun. Again, though, 5-minute cooldown. It's like it's sort of tricky because you wish you could have 2 categories of potions. One's for raiding and then just bullshit potions.
Yeah, you would
because
love those for different things.
It would be neat to just have a stack of potions, the reborn cheetah, and just use it a bunch. Yeah. Like more than every 5 minutes. I don't know. But obviously I'm not saying that there should be like a 1-minute potion cooldown because that'd be silly as well. Stupid,
yeah. Also, the Algarian healing potion heals for 1.1 million health at the start of its expansion.
Yeah.
We're going to have big numbers by the end of it. Like,
how do you think they're going to deal with that? Because you know the way they kept on.
Yeah,
but like they kept on increasing our health pools to try to get around the healing being too powerful problem. I think they did that twice, didn't they?
Yeah, and they didn't do enough.
Yeah, like the amount that our health pools grew in this expansion, like Dragonflight, is crazy. Imagine if it had another raid tier of growth. I suppose it does. Still, it's the awakened tier, which we will talk about soon.
Because that's...
I know everyone's excited about season 4.
Yeah, because that's in 4 days.
That doesn't even feel real.
It really doesn't. It really very doesn't.
And then Mop Remix is a week after.
No, it's a week after 10/27.
I'm stupid. Never mind. Right. Are there any other interesting highlights or things?
File of True Sight. Drink to see your perception and allow you to see camouflage mining and herb nodes. I'm not a crafter.
Ooh.
I think camouflage nodes are new.
Lasts 30 minutes and through death, consuming an identical file will add another 30 minutes.
Also.
Cool.
These are flasks, not files.
Flasks are back.
Yeah. That's a file, but that's a crafting thing.
Yeah.
That's an intentional decision. They're saying, fuck files, flasks are back. Flasks are back, files are for crafters.
They evidently thought the clicks ain't worth... Yeah.
Everyone just clicked it twice.
Yeah, so the click isn't worth the granularity that it offers.
Yeah.
So then there's gems, which add things. Do they add anything new, man? Anything exciting?
There's nothing new in the default gems. Like the Master of Onyx, they still have like the mastery is the Onyx's...
Culminating
blasphemite. Yeah.
It's called we have a gem of blasphemy.
I think we might be saying we might meet people who have bad things to say about the Titans, I think.
Our world
which is fine because our enchants give us authority.
Well, every game from Japan tells you kill God.
Yeah.
At the end.
They usually don't say kill pantheons of gods. That's usually that's actually just God of War, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is fun. Like some of these are fun. What do you mean by 20% perceived fame and fortune per unique Algarian gem color socketed?
What's going on?
Sorry, I'm assuming that's nothing. I said it doesn't mean anything because there's a very small amount of me goes. That reads like rep or renown to me. There's no way you're giving me a. Like, okay, so per unique Algarian gem color socketed, there's 5 colors. 4 colors? 5 colors? 5 colors.
Just bring me back to Wrath.
5 colors, there's 4 secondary stats, and then stamina. Yeah. So, do you want a double renown, or is it a Delves thing? Maybe. Who knows? But the thing you'll notice is this is different from this is literally the opposite of the Dragonflight one. Mm-hmm. The Dragonflight one was, you're a big Alexstrasza simp. Jam your gems, jam your sockets full of Alexstrasite, and then it'll proc for big. That was the ticket there for the meta gems, but this is per unique Algarian gem color, which means you're going to be ideally, if you're looking for, because this is like critical effect, right? That's probably the one you want. You probably want critical effect because that's critical damage and healing. Maybe you want movement speed if you're not into like super min-maxing your stuff. Maybe max mana if you're a healer. You know, you probably, I don't know what the cubic is. I actually literally don't know what that means. But because that's per unique Algarian gem color, that means for min-maxers, you're going to want to decide a different gem combination to max this out.
Yeah.
So obviously, like here's an example, right, where the Deadly Emerald, 190 haste, 127 critical strike. Say you want loads of, I'd say haste then. If you want loads of haste, you'll probably want the Deadly Emerald, and then you'll want the Onyx. You'll want the Quick Onyx, which will be Mastery and Haste. And then you'll want, you know, the Quick Ruby. You'll want a Quick of each one, instead of going, I'll put 5 of the same gem in or whatever else. So it's like, it doesn't
we
really
shouldn't try to
matter,
bamboozle, confuse everybody without having, Matt, a referral code to raid bots.
Oh, of course, yeah. Of course, yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm going to use raid bots. Do you know why? Because there's a lot of things going on in the old IRL, and I'm lazy.
I think I might just not bother.
But I might
just go on vibes.
It's bizarre, right? Because do you know what's weird? In a way, you could be like, we don't want to use that. But there is something about there being a little solvable puzzle. And, you know, you sort of solve the puzzle for your character right now, and you get a happy tick. You know, and the happy tick is just, this is one well-prepared, great character. And it's almost as if, right, here's the thing that's weird to me. There's that texture that often you think, we don't need that. We can, you know, buff it out. No more texture. It's silly. Players don't need to do that. And then the player's like, oh, good, I'm done already. And I guess I just, you know, I think about that. And the other touch point that I have is, funnily enough, in mobile games. Because you know the way mobile games are entirely about texture. As in the texture of a cheese grater, and I don't know, you have to crawl 100, you know, you have to slither 100 miles against a cheese grater.
Just
and that's
play a good mobile game instead. I don't have a Blue Archive
Be
referral
gone,
code.
weeb!
I don't have a Blue Archive referral code to put
Here
a fight
we play Western games like Warcraft Rumble that have no plot.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
And no content, and are just Skinner boxes, but are pretty well designed little minigame. No, but I bring that up because, you know, all the times where people sort of say, oh, I wish I could just pay like a tenner and then, you know, I'd have none of the BS in the mobile game. But that's actually forgetting that in a game like that, the value is overcoming the texture. And it's kind of one of the inherently, like, you know, dark, messed up things. I suppose that sort of comes in when you take the virtual work part of games and the habitual part of games. So I suppose I wonder if you know, as you look through all of these and the Reforging inspired enchants for our rings, you do sort of see like more potential work, more potential mid-maxing. And if you're like me, I'm probably just going to think, well, I could just get the right answer with a click. I will do that. But the thing is, I'll still kind of feel satisfied at the other end of it. I
sort of agree slightly, but I mostly disagree for the reason of the reason of this. This is too in the weeds. Look at the cursed enchants. I think those are pretty okay. I think those are fine. I think you can make a pretty reasonable discussion or like decision if you go, right, well, I just got a weapon, I have too much crit, I just got a weapon that gives me a load of crit, it's way too much, let me dump some of that crit for mastery for whatever reason. Maybe that's because you can kind of intuitively make that to a degree if you know your stat weights roughly. If you know, well, I as a class interact more with mastery than the crit, so I'll want to do that assuming my crit doesn't go too low. But it's whenever you're jamming, like, how do I min-max 10, 20, 30 stats? And I need it to be calculated via robots. That's where I kind of come into the issue where I think it's part of user experience, right? Where I actually think the user experience of go look up the answer, dickhead, is really annoying. Especially when it comes to raid bots, which isn't, like, it's a great service. But it is, because it's an advanced thing for advanced players, it's not the easiest to use. There's a lot of ways you can kind of go wrong with it as well. And by nature of, because you know how, like, we're getting actually pretty into the weeds with this topic, but you know the way, like, defaults can change a whole lot of stuff.
Oh, yes. People
will just blam their way through the defaults that's in raid bots. And the defaults that are in raid bots may not be perfect for every situation. And obviously the creators of raid bots and players who like use it properly will go, just change the options.
Yeah.
Then you're like, well, I don't want to pay for raid buffs premium, so I get quick queue times, and I don't want to try with raid buffs, without raid buffs, with ideal comps. I don't want to like try. Do I try all of this? Do I pay so I can get enough combinations to try every item that's in my vault? Do I try what do you call it? Do I try this on the target dummy? Do I try it without any raid consumes? Do I try it on dungeon slice? Do I do it on hunt? What do you call what's that? The one called Huntmaster River, the cleave is called. Do I do it on the cleave fight? Do I do it in patchwork? Do I test all these talents? Do I test my different hero talents? Like that is too much for players, and I think that's like having it exist, fine. Feeding into it too much is too much, but this is all actually okay, realistically.
Yeah.
Hack the guy cleave, that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's all right. I think that's completely fine. Like I don't like using raid bots because it's just offloading stuff. Like a better game, and I'm putting this in quotes because it's very personal. I don't like not being able to solve things based on what I can see and read and understand.
Yeah.
It's even it's the thing I've run into playing Blue Archive, where I could very easily go and check meta units and roll for meta units and go to threads or Reddit or whatever else and see or even sites and go, well, here's who I want for this upcoming raid in a week. So I'll spend the time to level them and get their abilities upgraded. I don't enjoy having the answer. I would rather take the team that I've made and go, well, I've got a vague idea of what I want to do with what I have available.
You have, Matt. My answer.
Yeah. That's fine.
I didn't get points for Endwalker.
No, you didn't. Yeah.
Ruined.
That's what I.
No, I understand. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you need to feel like you can actually come to a very good outcome by just using your intuition and the stuff provided.
Yeah,
and that should be user-friendly and not stupidly obtuse.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing we'll talk about maybe a bit briefly. The new direction of talents, I'm not super sure on just yet.
Oh!
There's a lot of class changes that have talents that have kind of altered how you build talent trees for some classes.
Okay.
And it feels a little bit more all or nothing. And I genuinely I wonder if having something like potency in the tooltips would help. Probably, but also it's more about interactions. So I think this might be intentional. Because we're talking about complexity now, I might as well just talk about it properly. Building talent trees feels impossible intuitively for a couple of specs
currently
in the world.
In the world. Okay, in the
currently
world
as well.
Yeah.
What's that? Some of them is very, very, very difficult to even consider what's going to work without just having without being incredibly knowledgeable and experienced, or having something to sim based off, or testing. And I don't because I know a lot of people just pick whatever's good and go, I'm going about today. But I want something that's good. I want something that's at least good and effective. Mm-hmm. But I also don't want to just go to ahead and go, give me what's good, or Discord or whatever else.
Yeah, you want to be able to make it yourself. So why is it harder with some of these new designs?
I'll use Windwalker Monk as an example. I got full on choice paralyzed trying to decide how I would get AoE damage. Do I go for Whirling Dragon Punch? Do I go for the Jadefire Stomp with the Jadefire Stomp boost of damage because it boosts damage?
How are these in the tree? Are these a choice? Or
Whirling Dragon Punch is way to the far left. Jadefire Stomp is almost completely to the far right. It is basically, there are so many great options left on the table.
Right.
I'm just I don't know which of these will be better. And World of Warcraft is very difficult to actually test which is better without resulting in empirical stuff, unless you play with Whirling Dragon Punch for like an hour and then try to swap to Jadefire Stomp. And that's kind of the weird stuff where I'm like, I feel like they're maybe intentionally going, fuck you, pick what you like, or copy from my head. There's nothing in the middle. There's a little bit of that vibe to me. And I'm like, I'm just a little lost because I want to build it effectively, but it seems to be offering me choice. And I feel like I'm maybe caught in the middle between two player bases in a weird way.
That's interesting. Okay.
Especially with like, there's stuff like, there's a lot of interaction with like, you know, like Rising Sun Kick. And I'm like, I kind of want that. And then there's also like, oh, well, actually, there's the other part. Actually, the other thing is Fist of Fury. Fist of Fury, big AoE, right? You can build up a massive Fist of Fury with a couple of the Zhuan's battle gear, the ones around the middle. Do you want to go for that? Or do you want to go for Jadefire? Or do you want to go for that? Or
well, that's the choice.
Yeah, or, you know, do you want to take Strike of the Windlord? Well, probably not unless you're going the whole way and getting every booster talent for it, because that's how things work, the compound. So you kind of have to go, well, actually, I'll just ignore these like 6 points, and I still don't have enough to have like everything I want. But then that's where I get really weirded out by it, because I think I could take Whirling Dragon Punch and Jadefire Stomp, but I can't buff them both. And then I go, how the fuck am I supposed to know if stacking Teachings of the Monastery to 8 stacks after a Whirling Dragon Punch is going to be better than Jadefire Stomp giving it 10% damage for 12 seconds? Duh!
What's an example of something in another game that has worked but could, if a few things were a bit differently, be a similar situation?
I have no fucking idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Like, what's another game where the character building, like customization process has worked? It's like, if I know that if you were, say, a massive Diablo player, we could have like a D4 rooted discussion, but yeah,
it sounds like the problem is you want to be optimal but can't without analysis, which makes sense. Actually, yes. Because
yeah, you can't just leave it thinking like I could be making the wrong call.
Yeah, the thing is, analysis, that's the thing. I can't analyze it, that's the problem. I can't analyze it. I have to use an external tool to do that.
Yeah.
I can't gameplay intuition it. And that's a lot of, like, this is basically my problem with a lot of those optimization focused games. It's like, I want to be able to intuitively understand what's kind of good. I want to be able to pick the thing that is like, obviously work. Obviously this is for this, not like this is for this situation, because that kind of sucks a little bit as well. But I am more or less like, at a case of, I feel like it's weird. Like, I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. I'm just saying I personally walked into it and I was like maybe it's just a case of get over it and pick the one you like.
Have you looked at the Druid class tree revamp yet?
The class tree revamp? Yes.
What are the thoughts?
The class tree or the talents? Class. That is the version of, like, that's the version of, with the class trees seem to make more sense for me in that category, where they are very much, which of your off spec do you want, basically? And I actually kind of like that, because that's a little bit more obvious, or it's a simple choice of utility. So as an example, the warrior class tree is pick your capstone and then swap between utility in the middle, is basically it. Do you want spell reflect or shockwave? Not literally that choice, but it feels like it's, do you want your impending victory? Do you want your spell reflect? Do you want stormbolt? Do you want shockwave? Pick 2. That's what it feels like. I'm like, okay, well, that actually makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, I can intuitively go, well, that's that. Well, I want shockwave because I'm doing a fortified M+. Or I'm in raid, I want impending victory to heal up regularly. Or I'm in M+, I don't want impending victory because I'll heal off victory rushes. I'll do that. So I think that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the thing I'm a little bit at, where it probably won't matter to most people, but it was the thing I noticed, is like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. And I'm not the kind of player who will, play alpha and play Windwalker Monk and alpha for 8 hours and determine which one's more fun or better. That's not my vibe whatsoever. It is a little weird. Yeah, that's the thing. We're like, for most classes, you can pick what you want, unless you're doing upper M+ or heroic mythic grade. At that point, those types of people are going to be almost expected to look at guides. That's the problem, where first, like, heroic, like, I don't mind it being super optimal, but I just hate the prospect of arbitrarily doing less damage because I chose a different option when it feels like the
there's
option
less
should be-
damage, but then there's the thing of reliability.
Yeah.
So, if something is slightly less damage, but it's far more, usable or just easy to use, and you might do more damage with it, even though it's theoretically not optimal. So, thinking of like, I don't know, like the Charlemagne trinket. Like, man, might not be the best DPS ever, but it is a burst of DPS right now button. And in the context of completely optimizing your character for a boss fight or a dungeon, sure, it might not make sense. But it also could just be something that you enjoy having.
Yeah.
Because whenever you use it, it's powerful in that moment. I guess that's... Going to Holly talking about midcore, I think is interesting.
Yeah, because I'm profoundly midcore, profoundly midcore.
Even actually, a good example of that, I know there are better trinkets my character could have, but for soloing the big water elemental at the for the penultimate boss of Siege of Dazar'alor, I was really glad that I had my Charlemagne trinket.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have like 10 seconds to delete that thing's health bar, then you're dead. So even though it may not be the best DPS in the grander sense, I needed DPS within 10 seconds, and it was amazing for that. And I guess similar examples can exist in your talent tree.
Yeah.
I'd wonder, what is it like if you purposely go for the unconventional builds or the strange things and then just try benchmarking them? That might be a fun experiment to do sometime, but definitely self-defeating. Because, WoW sims are really good.